Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today, I'm going to be bringing to you my buyer's guide for the Republic for 2022. This is a Star Wars Legion what to buy first when on a budget guide. If you are interested in Star Wars Legion and the Clone Wars timeline and want to play the clones, aka the Grand Army of the Republic, otherwise sometimes known as just the Republic, or GAR as they call them for short, this is a good starting point. So if you guys like what you see here, hopefully you stick around. We also have a great Discord. Links are in the description below. I'd love to have you guys join, ask questions, talk, learn some more about the game. It's great to actually be able to interact with people, and that's one of the things that our Discord is for. It's also very family friendly, and we have different communities for other games too, in addition to Star Wars Legion, games like Star Wars Armada, Star Wars X-Wing, and more. So definitely check that out. But yeah, I typically update these videos every year or two, and basically I want to give you guys my list of Republic expansions to buy maybe after you've gotten into the core set, and what can kind of be the best value going forward, and hopefully it'll make some sense to you, and hopefully you enjoy what you see here. Also, we are giving away a lightsaber right now, so if you're not already subscribed, you'll just want to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, and it's as simple as that. That's how you enter to win the lightsaber giveaway. That's actually going to be running for the next month or so, so you have plenty of time left to get in on that. A big thanks to today's sponsor as well, Luxury Playstyle. There are some fantastic tokens up on Luxury Playstyle's website. If you are getting into this game and you decide you want to upgrade your cardboard experience, these are a great way to upgrade your cardboard tokens to full metal tokens. They're absolutely amazing, and there are actually tokens available for a variety of other games too, like X-Wing and some of the Arkham horror games and L5R and Keyforge and so on and so forth. So check them out. You're going to save 15% with code Crabbok VIP. Also, on orders of $35 or more, you're going to get a free Crabbok lightsaber nunchuck token thrown in. So that's pretty cool. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and start out. Now, before I jump into this too much, I have one disclaimer, and that is kind of like the rule of cool disclaimer. And what I mean by that is if there's something that you want, if there's a certain unit that maybe I don't recommend, but you really want, and that's what you want to build your army around, then I think you should absolutely go for that first and foremost. Because while I do play competitively, sometimes I think having fun and the fun factor in a game is the most important thing of all. So make sure that you guys are just having a good time when you're playing first and foremost. But with that out of the way, here's my recommendations on what to buy first when on a budget. So the first thing is going to be the core set. Now, there are two different core sets. There's going to be one that has Darth Vader on the cover, which is the Galactic Civil War core set. That's going to be Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and the Empire and the Rebels. That's not the one that you're going to want for if you're getting into the Republic, because that's not the Clone Wars core set. You're going to want this one. It's got General Grievous and it's got clones. This is the one that you're going to want. Now, they're both the same price. This one is $120 MSRP. I will list the current prices for at least for January of 2022. However, prices are subject to change. Prices fluctuate, and we're just kind of in this worldwide situation where 3 months from now there could be new prices on things. So that's kind of the prices right now. But it's a great value. You're going to get a good starting set for the Republic. You're going to get Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're also going to get a Bark Speeder and 2 Phase 1 Clone Trooper units, and that's a good kind of starting out army build. It's not a full-size army, but it's a good kind of half or starter army. And you're also going to get Separatist stuff to go in there too. So if you have a friend, you can play with them, General Grievous and some B1s. You're going to get Droidekas in there too. You're going to have a whole game in a box. And you can really just stop here at first, because this is a good intro tutorial kind of gateway game in a box. Now, of course, you are going to need a lot of other things because this is a hobby game, so you're going to have to snip some sprues and glue some things together. And I'll probably do a hobby video for Legion in the future of like what you need as far as to assemble your minis and how to go about doing all that. But as far as just your initial game purchases, this is what has to be the first one. Now, I will also suggest you consider getting a second core set, just because of the value that you get in there, especially if you're going to be playing multiple factions, or if you have a friend who's going to play separatists with you. A lot of times people will even split a core set, and that helps reduce the cost of there. If you don't want any of the separatist units that come in this box, but you have a friend who might, then it works out as a great way. Now, if you are playing like within your household or with a friend and they're going to play all the separatist stuff and you're going to play all the clones, definitely get a second core set because the value is tremendous. Plus, there's a lot of other little things in here that are very helpful to have a second dosage of. One of those is, extra dice. Another one of those is extra movement tools and extra range finders and all the barricades and all the extra cards and all their other stuff that you're going to get in here. It's nice to have extras of those, especially dice, but there is also a dice app from Fantasy Flight you can get that helps kind of take care of all of that as well. So, but that being said, not everybody's going to want to get a second core set because, again, it is $120, and you may be looking to just expand your army little by little and big chunks like that. Even though it's a good value for everything that you get, it ends up being a little on the pricey side. So if you are looking to get another expansion and when moving beyond the core set, the first thing I think that you're going to need, at least to kind of build your army to the minimum levels to play in basically sanctioned games or organized play, is an extra core unit, because you do need 3 core units. So if you haven't picked up a second core set, which some people won't, I would suggest getting a Phase 2 Clone Troopers unit expansion as your first additional purchase. Now, the Phase 2 clones are going to be kind of similar to the Phase 1 clones in a lot of ways, especially at first glance. They both have a Z6 heavy weapon option, and they both have fire support, and they both are clone troopers. Now, but this pack is going to be $40. It's not a cheap pack, but this is also one of the first new core units to come out in the hard plastic, and so they're really, really nice and detailed miniatures. But they're also very, very good in the game, and I think having at least one, if not more than one, Phase 2 Clone Troopers available to you is something you're going to use in just about every Republic build you ever do for the entirety that you play this game. So Phase 2 Clone Troopers are a fantastic purchase. They have some things about them that make them even better despite some recent changes to clones. Now, if you are playing the Republic, you're going to have to run clones. It's just the way it is. They're currently the only core available, and you have to run core, at least 3 core. Now, it's important that if you're a new player, you consider some of the new rules that have changed. There are rules in that core box that are already kind of out of date. And the biggest thing is that clones used to have this ability that they could share green tokens. Well, they still can, but it's been changed an awful lot. They can't share standbys anymore with other clones, and they can only basically borrow 1 token or use 1 token from a friendly clone per combat, per shot. So they can't just take all the aims and dodges that they want willy-nilly anymore. They can take 1 at a time. Now, the reason that the Phase 2 clones kind of shine in light of these recent changes is that their surge that they start off with, it makes them a great unit to do some shooting, because then they can borrow an aim from somebody else, but they still have at least 1 green token on them automatically. And basically, a surge is just a way to kind of power up their attack or defense just a little bit. So it's a nice thing. And it really, I guess it was always been a good unit, but I think in light of recent changes, the Phase 2s are even better. Plus, they have a higher courage value and a lot of other things that make them desirable. But Phase 2s are pretty good, and I think at least having one it will always have a place in just about every build you ever do for clones. Next up, I'm going to say Republic Specialists. This is a fantastic expansion, and the Republic actually had to wait a long time to finally get this to come out for them, because Clone Wars was kind of late to the game getting all the kind of staple expansions. Now, the Republic Specialists pack is $32. You're going to get 4 miniatures in here, and plus you're going to have a unit card to be able to run kind of a clone commander, which is really, really nice, because if you've got the core set, you kind of only have Obi-Wan Kenobi as your commander at this point. And this is going to give you a cheap clone commander that's got some pretty cool abilities, and he's actually a really good commander. He's got the direct keyword, he's got bolster, he can basically give somebody a face-up order, which works into the fire support ability, which is a very crucial ability for the Republic right now. And it's kind of one of their main kind of options on how you want to play them. One key option is to consider fire support. So this pack will work with that. Plus, it gives you a medic and then an engineer and then a comm guy and of course that leader. Now the leader can be by himself or he can go into another unit, making them even better. So it's a way for you to upgrade your existing clone units, your phase 1 clones and maybe your phase 2 clone. They can go into those units, making them fantastic. Or you can run the leader by himself. So it can spice up all of the different units that you already have. And or be a combination of both, like run the generic clone and put the medic in one of your units and put the engineer in one of your units and things like that. So really good value for this pack because it flushes out your collection and makes it better. Next up, I'm going to say the upgrade card pack. It's not quite as crucial, but it's still good, especially for only $10. You're going to get a ton of upgrades in here, and they're going to kind of flush out all of your build options for your entire collection. This is especially a good upgrade card pack, is especially good option for people who aren't playing multiple factions. If you're playing just one faction, this one ends up being a tremendous value because there's a lot of cards that may only be available during the Galactic Civil War expansions, the first couple of expansions in Legion, or maybe only be available for one side. And this came out at the time that the Clone Wars core set came out, but it was meant to have all of those cards that maybe weren't available to all factions in this pack. So it's a great way to get yourself caught up and to make sure that you're not like lacking one critical upgrade and now you have to go buy something that you don't even play just to get the upgrade cards that come in it. And for only $10 you're getting quite a bit. So that's great value there. Next up, Padme Amidala. Now, this is one that is just strange to me because I always personally had a grudge against Padme for being a senator, but always finding herself in the middle of a battle. And I'm like, shouldn't you be writing laws or voting on laws and trying to get things done instead of like finding yourself in a firefight like every single episode of the Clone Wars. So, but that's what she does, right? So she ends up being really, really good with the clones. With her exemplar ability, it ends up being it was good when it first came out, but it's tremendous now because the clones have been nerfed so much that they, can't share as many tokens and they can't share standbys. But Padme circumvents all of that because Exemplar is a separate thing that is kind of like the clones' ability on steroids. It's a really, really great ability and it really supports the clones. Currently, the Republic is the only faction that has Exemplar. Padme has it, and Anakin Skywalker has it, but Anakin, it's a little harder for him to actually employ it, and he's not really a support unit. Padme is a pure support unit, and she is phenomenally good and makes almost every single Clone Wars build better, or Republic build better. So she'll go into a lot, if not all, of your Republic builds as well. So she's really, really good. And it's surprising too, because again, she's not somebody that canonically I would want in the middle of my army, but she ends up being fantastic for this game. And she's only $20. Next up, we're going to go with Grandmaster Yoda, brand new expansion, and he is the greatest thing ever. And I would have put him much higher up, but you've already had a commander in Obi-Wan, and so like at this point, maybe it's time to consider another commander. Granted, you already had one with Obi-Wan, and you also had your generic commander with the Republic Separatists, but Grandmaster Yoda is really, really, really good, and he comes with some great cards, and he may be one of the most powerful units in the entire game right now. And so I just think he's fantastic. I think he's fun. I think he brings a lot of new things to the game. He also has additional value of really helping anybody who happens to also play the Rebels. So if you are playing multiple factions, if you like to play the good guys, he has some extra goodies for the Rebels, also for the Empire as well. So Yoda, in addition to coming with 2 miniatures, and you don't even need to use the 2 miniatures, but it's just like, hey, if you want old man Yoda kind of standing there, or if you want crazy Yoda jumping, swinging his lightsaber, you can have both of those, and you can play it with either one, which is really fun. So you're also getting great value there. You can run 2 commanders. You can run Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi together. That could actually work pretty well by doing that, and that's definitely a very, very fun way to run things. As a matter of fact, everything I've mentioned so far, you can run all in one build, and that's going to be a very, very strong and crazy wild build because, again, if you want to run Yoda and Padme and Obi-Wan, again, you're not going to have much points left, but that's a really fun way to do things. But Yoda also comes with a Chewbacca card. and a command card for Chewbacca, and a way to run Chewbacca in the Galactic Republic. Now, that is a better deal if you're also a Rebel player, if you already have a Chewbacca miniature. If you don't have a Chewbacca miniature, I mean, you can probably proxy something for the time being, but if you wanted to play in a tournament or any kind of league or any kind of organized play, you'd have to pick up the Chewbacca miniature, which is Rebel. But if you already have that, it's a great value. Or if you can borrow one from a friend, it's also great value for that. And I'll say this, with the burst of speed upgrades that come with Yoda are currently only available in this pack. I'm sure eventually, maybe by the time you're watching this, they'll be available for other factions. But as of right now, they're only available in this pack. And while people can certainly just print them out and use them at home for tournaments and stuff, it's a great upgrade, and also really benefits Imperial players who want to run Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine with a huge burst of speed and make them way more deadly. So you're just getting a ton of stuff in the Yoda pack in addition to just Yoda himself. So even though you didn't really need another commander at this point, he is so very, very good that I think he's still kind of like an S tier purchase for one of your first purchases. And the last one for the top tier for these are the immediates. I would say the Phase 1 Clone Trooper upgrade. This is a really good upgrade expansion. It's going to have 4 different minis, 2 personnel and 2 heavy, that are going to basically go exclusively for the Phase 1 Clone Troopers, which you already have at least 2 of if you already bought a core set. Now, these also do have an extra Phase 1 Clone Trooper unit card, so you can run them as an additional core unit also. So you have 2 different ways to kind of make use of this pack, or potentially 5 different ways. If you want to run them all 4 by themselves as just one basic Phase 1 Clone Trooper unit, you can do that, but most people will take the 4 minis in here and use those to upgrade different core units. So you can put them, you can put one of the heavies and one of the personnel into a Phase 1 clone unit, and put one of the other heavies and one of the other personnel into another Phase 1 clone unit, and have just a wider variety of different Phase 1 clones. The shotgun clone with Pierce is going to be really nice. There's a clone that gives you a free aim when you're activating. Again, really, really nice to have. It's just a great way to kind of add additional versatility to some of the stuff that you already have. And this Yoda, by the way, I forgot to mention prices. Yoda's only $18 currently on MSRP, which is strange for how much comes in that pack. And the Phase 1s are only $25. So again, most of your single miniature packs are $20. Like Padme was only 20, but Yoda's 18. So I don't know if that'll change. I imagine that certainly will change at some point. So now I'm going to get into after you've gotten to this point, I think this is a good kind of stopping point for a little while. Play with this stuff, and we'll get into some special forces and vehicles and things like that. So once you've kind of gotten into the game a little bit more, I'll talk about the Wookiee warriors. Now, this may not be for everybody. You might not care about Wookiees, or this may be like, hey, I love Wookiees. Then this might have been your first buy. This is a special forces. This is the first special forces unit to show up on this list. The Wookiees are a tremendous value. Just a tremendous value. This pack is $35, so it's a little bit more expensive than the original Wookiee Warriors, because there was a Rebel Wookiee Warriors pack. And again, this is another dual faction pack. And I'm not really... There's bonus points if you already play Rebels. There's a lot of stuff for the Republic that's dual faction. And this one, even if this one's so good, it's a great value even if you're not a Rebel player, even if you're gonna not use the Rebel part of this pack. Basically, this pack comes with 5 different unit cards. You have 2 versions that are Rebels, right? So the basic Wookiee Warrior Special Forces is going to be a unit that can either be run as a ranged unit or a melee unit. Now, either one can do range and melee, but one's a little bit better at one and one's a little bit better at the other. So you're going to have 2 versions of that for the Republic and 2 versions of that for the Rebels. But there's also a special unit card in here for a Wookiee commander, basically a chieftain, and kind of like I get like a tribal leader guy. He is unique, but he doesn't have a unique name, so it's not Tarful or anything like that. But this pack has 5 unit cards. It's got a lot of different minis, and it was even a great value for people who, like me, who already had 3 Wookiee units for the Rebels. It was still a great value because you have a lot of different heavy weapon. You have 3 different heavy weapon options in this pack, and it's just a really good value for what you're getting. There's a lot of different ways you can run these Wookiees, and you're getting a new commander as a Wookiee, so you can kind of run a mostly Wookiee build. If you want to, now you still have to run Clone Troopers for their core, but I have a feeling this one's going to get more and more valuable in the future too, because I do expect to eventually have a Wookiee battle force at one day, which will basically just mean either new rules to run only Wookiees, or maybe even some more Wookiee units at some point. But even as it stands on its own, just supporting the clones, this is a great pack, and even better value if you also play Rebels. As a matter of fact, I would say if you do play Rebels, this might even be your first buy, because you'd be getting 5 unit cards and you could use all of them. Next up is another Special Forces unit. It's the Ark Troopers. This one, there's a little bit of controversy on this one, because when it first came out, it was one of the best units in the game, and it has seen some nerfs. So that's why I kind of have it behind the Wookiee Warriors. The Ark Troopers have seen a little bit of nerfs in recent times, and a part of that is just because of the clone nerfs as a whole. They can't just borrow all the tokens they want from other people anymore, and of course the not being able to use standbys from other clones also has hurt them. But they also have had some keywords removed from certain cards, and points have not helped Ark Trooper units because it's an expensive unit to run. But you are also getting really, really beautiful, maybe some of the best clone models ever in this pack. You're also getting a lot of other cool things beyond just the 2 units that you're going to get in here. You're going to get the full Ark Trooper unit, and you're going to get the Strike Team. Strike Team snipers are very, very good. They're like a great kind of a moderately inexpensive way to kind of outfit your list. Clones are expensive across the board, and they're going to stay expensive. And so as a result, you tend to have like 8 activation lists, whereas other factions have like 10, 11, 12 activation lists. So clones need, cheaper, smaller activations sometimes. And this is a way to do that. But also you're going to get Echo and Fives from Star Wars: The Clone Wars in this. And those guys are cool because while they can go into an Ark Troopers unit, they can also go into just about any other core unit that's out there. So you can run Echo or Fives in a Phase 1 Clone Trooper unit, or in a Phase 2 Clone Trooper unit as well. And so that gives you a lot of extra versatility. So this is, while it doesn't have quite the versatility that the Wookiee Warriors pack currently has, Ark Troopers still give you a lot of options, and you definitely want at least one in your collection. I know a lot of people that run 3 units of Ark Troopers, but or at least used to. Nowadays, it's going to be kind of harder to justify that, but they're still a really cool unit. Next up, I felt I have to still include Rex. The clone Captain Rex was the first additional commander released for the Clone Wars, and used to be right at the top of my list. For prices, by the way, Ark Troopers are only $40 right now. Rex is only $20, so he's kind of cheap. He's only a single miniature though, and while I know a lot of people are going to want Rex at some point because he is just awesome, he's one of the greatest clones to ever wear the armor. He has been hit by some serious nerfs. And I feel like he's not an auto-include anymore. He used to be an auto-include, but Rex is not an auto-include anymore. He's still good, though. And it's an important thing to think about. He's still good. He's not bad at all. And he's certainly iconic and all of that. But one of the biggest nerfs to Rex was one of his command cards that got changed. Take That Clankers got changed to be almost useless now. There's like only 1 or 2 use cases that it really becomes useful. And so a lot of his, and also the clone changes as a whole kind of limit his availability. He and the Ark Troopers are kind of going hand in hand, because if you have the Ark Troopers and you have the jump jets, they kind of help out Rex a little bit. And so while I do think Rex is still good, and I think he's still worth including in a lot of your clone lists, I think the fact that we've, at this point in the build guide, if you've been following me down the list, you've already got a generic clone commander, which I think it's cheaper than Rex, and sometimes those points mean a huge amount to the clones. But you also got Yoda as well. So I think we've already got a couple of commander options that maybe he doesn't need to be one of the first ones you get anymore. He can be like your second or third. Unless, of course, you're a big fan of Rex, then he could easily be your first. Again, your fun factor should be the biggest priority here. But Rex is still super groovy, just not as good as he once was. But then again, sometimes points in errata will change. He might become top tier again someday. But right now, he's kind of just mid-tier, I would say. Next up, I'll put a vehicle on here. I'm not really pushing vehicles too much with the clones because they're more of an infantry-based faction. They do a lot better with either their Jedi or their clones and their shooters. But they do have a couple of vehicles. And I think the infantry support platform deserves a spot on this list. It's a new vehicle that just recently came out. It's only $45, so it's one of the cheapest vehicles you can get, especially for a heavy support. Sorry, a heavy vehicle. I don't really have any just support vehicles on this list because I'm just not generally a fan of running them. And you already have a Bark speeder in the core set, so I think at this point, the infantry support platform is something I did not like when it first kind of was revealed. And I thought, well, what's the point of this? The only reason to do this is fire support. And, well, clone players don't really need to do fire support. They've got Rex and Take That Clankers and all this other crazy overpowered stuff and sharing standbys and all this other stuff. And then all these nerfs hit. And so, the current rules reference guide has the clones playing in a very different play style than they used to. And the infantry support platform is a way to maximize that fire support play style. Plus, it's a fast vehicle. It can move around very, very quickly. It has some respectable firepower. It's not a super powerhouse, but at the same time, it also doesn't cost that many points in your list, at least compared to things like the Saber tank. It's going to be a much cheaper vehicle to run and will leave you more points for clones and for boots on the ground. So the infantry support platform is probably a good way to kind of stay mobile, get around the battlefield, trigger fire support, and have something that's going to be kind of hard to kill because it's got some armor and it's a little bit hard to kill. It has great mobility too. So yeah, infantry support platform. Plus, it's going to cost you less dollars than the other heavies. So I think that's important. And that's kind of where I kind of stop the mid-tier stuff. Now, we do have some additional dual faction recommendations. I got to mention the Crashed Escape Pod pack because it's got R2-D2 and C-3PO in it. But the reason why this is, I kind of recommend this more if you're a dual faction player because it's for both the Rebels and the Republic. You have unit cards for the droids for both Rebels and Republic. And they have seen a nerf. They're more points than they used to be. R2-D2 used to be only 35 points, and he's gone up significantly since then. So he's not as crucial as he used to be. But he's still a really good unit for the Republic. The reason this is so low on the list is that it's $45 for this pack. Most, single dudes, because the unit is just R2-D2, and you have the option of running C-3PO with him. It's not like it's two separate units. But most, basically one or two miniature expansions have typically only been $20 or even less. And this is $45. And the reason for that is because you're getting a little piece of terrain in here too. Now, that's kind of great, but it's a small piece of terrain, and it's not enough to kind of make a battlefield based on. You're also getting a scenario in this pack, so you're getting a couple of things, but it's not really a cost-effective way to put out miniatures. But it's a good miniature for the Republic if you do decide to get it. But again, I don't really recommend this if you're on a budget, unless, of course, you're playing Rebels and Republic. And for the Empire, I'll also throw out another vehicle out there, the Lat Le Patrol Transport. This is a little bit more of a late Clone Wars vehicle or a Star Wars Rebels Imperial vehicle. But this is a transport. It can move units around the battlefield pretty quickly. It can be really nice if you've got some Wookiees or if you're trying to get some big artillery launching from the sky. It can do that whole circular strafing sort of thing. And attacking from high above. It does come with units for both the Empire and for the Republic, not Rebels in this case. So if you're an Empire and Republic player, this is a good value. It tends to be $65 though, is the MSRP for this one. So it's not cheap, but if you're playing both factions, then it becomes a much better value. So there is that. And then as you become more competitive, I got to mention the ways to fill out your battle deck. Vital Assets is a $40 pack that gives you 9 new battle cards. A great one to have. Also, Priority Supplies gives you 3 new battle cards for only $25. Both of those packs also come with some little scatter terrain pieces that are really used to be like objective miniatures, bombs and moisture evaporators and supply transmission points and things like that, and crates. and all sorts of stuff. So all the stuff that comes in here kind of goes along with those specific battle cards, those missions, objectives, conditions, and deployment cards. Are going to tie in directly to the little plastic minis that come in here. But these are, once you're ready to play competitively and you want to move into a tournament, you probably want to have the most battle cards you can. And I think these are good packs to mention, but they shouldn't be probably the first thing you get. Now, there's a lot more stuff that I did not cover that is available for the Republic, of course, that's kind of what the Discord is for. Like, if you want to ask people about the Saber Tank, or if you want to ask people about Anakin Skywalker, why did I not include those here? There's nothing wrong with them, but I just don't necessarily think they're the best early purchases for people who are just getting into the game and are on a budget. So that's basically the answer to a lot of that type of stuff. ATRTs, for example, there's a lot of other things that are out there that I think can maybe wait a little bit. And of course, if you love it, get it right away. If Anakin is your favorite guy, then get Sky Guy, get him right away. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Hope you guys enjoy this video, though. I would love to keep the discussion going. Let me know some of your favorite Republic units down in the comments section. I will talk to you guys soon. Don't forget, check out those links that are in the description below. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this all possible. I will talk to you guys soon. Don't forget to polish your armor and keep it nice and clean.